Call the Esticated Traffic and Public Safety Committee to order. First to the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please, Evelyn.
Commissioner Sedgwick,
Here.
Commissioner Owens,
Here.
Commissioner Dobbs,
Here.
Vice Chair Dolzall,
Here.
Chair Moriarty,
Here.
Commissioner Terrell,
Here.
and then Counselor Metcalf.
Here. Excellent, thank you. All right, do we have any changes or do we have a motion to approve back up, community comments? Do we have any comments? Shirley, come on up.
Okay, I'm speaking in behalf of the Cazadera Court and on 10th Street and by River Mill. We are having so much problems with people speeding in that school zone in the mornings and in the evenings, and we would like to request speed bumps. One run just as you turn on 10th Street coming off of Eagle Creek Highway, and one on the other side of Cazadera Court.
Further up Broadway on the
yeah.
left.
No, those are on 10th Street, those
Okay.
two. That was because the school buses are coming off there too. I mean, at least one, but we would like to have two. And then also River Mill is one of the only schools that really doesn't have any safety features, period. I mean, you got all the signs on Clackamas and the middle school and the high school. You have nothing in front of the school, River Mill School. I mean, they come around that corner off of round back on Broadway by the school. They swing that corner and there's nothing to stop them from going faster. And it's ridiculous also coming out of Campanella's. I have nothing against Campanella's Estates, except they don't know how to drive in a damn school zone. They come out of there and we finally got one stop sign, two stop signs there. Oh no, one stop sign. But what we need, one is coming out of Campanella's on 10th and Broadway corner. We thought about three, but we don't want to stop the traffic coming from the school because that would just bog the whole school down. But coming out of Campanella's, there needs to be a stop sign because there's a blind corner. And people park there and you can't see around it.
And it's pretty narrow there.
Oh, it's real
Parking,
narrow,
right?
especially in that motorhome comes and parks up there and parks because she has to move her damn motorhome. So she'll bring that motorhome up to 10th and Broadway and park it right there on the corner. You can't see around it. But that's one of the things. And then we went down to Lakeshore and we've noticed that Lakeshore, one side of Lakeshore is yellow, period. So people can't park there. That's what needs to be done on Broadway would be on the left side going where that motorhome's parked. Because the people that live in those houses can park across the street in those diagonal parking spots.
Near the baseball fields.
Yeah,
Okay.
Especially when you got baseball games going on, you got people parked on both sides of the street. Half the time they don't pay attention to the yellow stripping either. But, if it's there, then that's one problem we can get rid of. The code enforcer tells me, we can't make this motorhome not park there. She can park there for 72 hours and then move her motorhome for 3 hours and come back and park for another 72 hours. And that should not be that way. So mostly it's safety and Broadway and 10th Street needs something drastically done to it. And I would like to thank, I know the city really had it, but the county finally moved the 25-mile-an-hour zone back towards River Mill. That's when I first brought it up. I said, well, it'll be 9 months. And I said, why in the hell does it take 9 months to move a traffic sign? So they did finally move that traffic sign back. So now we have 25 miles coming into town and 25 miles going out. So I really appreciate that if you guys had anything to do with it. And the other person I wanted to speak tonight works from home and he got stuck at home, so hopefully he'll be back next time.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Shirley. All right, so we have something that we can fill out that for you if you'd like to and submit it to the city on having a traffic study done there for speed. Everyone's okay with that? And then we can go over there and look in regards to River Mill. And then on the other side of River Mill Elementary by 10th and Broadway. Okay, and see what the parking situation that is over there. And what you said, yellow, like on River Mill. On Broadway, okay. Lakeshore. Got it. Anyone else have any recommendations?
Did we, remind me, did we just add temporary speed bumps or something like that, the little rubber one somewhere in there? I would
Well-
just say we'd have to look at that. Parking's pretty limited right there, and
It
that
sure
that
is.
is one of the only places that the younger kids participate in sports. So I mean, I did see that we have stripped one side. I'm
Right.
sure you guys are all aware that we stripped that one side and made one side no parking because it was pretty bad where it was duly
Right.
congested. And they fixed that a little bit. But you're not wrong. It is very congested and people do tend to drive fast. Maybe we could just address that transition point coming from Campanella with something, even if it's as simple as that vinyl striping on the
Okay.
street or something.
And the last thing, Shirley, you said stop sign coming from Campanella to River Mill School. There at 10th, was it? Okay. We can always send a recommendation to the city council on that. Does anyone else have anything on that issue by any chance? No? Okay, thank you, Shirley. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming this evening. All right. Give us some more homework here over the holidays. Awesome. And moving on to the consent agenda. If anyone doesn't have any recommendations or fixes there, can I get a motion to approve the October 24, 2023 minutes?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor. Now it's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. You're up, chief.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, today I actually really just wanted to just discuss that, no surprise to anybody, that this time of year we start seeing a lot more packages delivered to people's homes. And so one of the things that we the sheriff's office want to be mindful of is make sure that we're doing patrols in the neighborhoods and watching to make sure that we can deter any package theft from people's residence. I know that the sheriff's office is going to do some messaging on that on their social media. And so I was going to talk with the city manager about sharing that on the city's Facebook page. But that's just one of those things that I think is I'm asking our deputies to pay attention to that during the day and kind of watch for that, just if anything else to deter it. But then obviously if we find that happening, then they'll deal with it. So, but yeah, that's the main thing I want to touch on today.
Excellent. And you'll have something next year, I think, for the stats and whatnot. That'll be what, January?
Yeah, we should be ready for that. Yeah, by our meeting in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, chief.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything for Chief Mendoza?
I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. I have a question on, I know what you can say is very limited, so I'm not asking you to tell us anything, but what I would like for the record anyways, is there any concern with the shooting on what I'm more worried about, to be specific, is there any concern that this is not an isolated incident, that it's random behavior from somebody that maybe would do this again, a predatory type behavior on people, if you would, or our community? And then on the follow-up with that is, what I would like to try to avoid is vigilante justice. I'm sure you're tracking on that as well, especially with the way the world is right now in the community. So what can we do to be proactive on our half to try to avoid chaos, unnecessary chaos?
Yeah. Good question. And like you start off, say that, unfortunately this is an active investigation, so I can't go into very much detail. I can say, and I know this is, this information was relayed already, but for the record, that our detectives have assured me that they are making progress in this investigation. So that's a huge positive. At this time, I would just go with a statement of, and not saying that it's specifically related to this case, but at any time, we would encourage people to do what you can to keep yourself safe. And if you're in a situation where you're confronted or seeing a confrontation, the best thing to do is attempt to de-escalate that confrontation and contact law enforcement. But as far as specific to that case, unfortunately, I can't go into any details at this time.
No, I appreciate that. I just more wanted to give something on record for the community to understand that it's not something we're letting slip through the cracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can 100% assure you that it is a top priority at the sheriff's office.
Thank you. That's all I had, Jim. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Good question. Anyone else for chief? Okay, moving on to Lawrence and Coupland intersection updates. Evelyn?
Yeah, so I have an update from Brian, who wasn't able to be here tonight, but he sent an email to Clackamas County asking about that intersection, and this is the email he sent. I'm with the city of Estacada, and we have heard several concerns about an intersection just outside our city limits where a culvert and the concrete has crumbled on the radius for the turn, which is a common route for buses. The concern lies at the intersection of Southeast Coupland Road and Southeast Lawrence Road. Can you let me know what we can do to get this fixed? A week later, the county came out and met with Dawn, the Public Works Director, to look at the culvert. They said that the corner had crumbled, but the culvert was still intact. Dawn said he met with Scott from Clackamas County, and Scott was going to ask the head of the department, Paul Runyon, if they could get someone out to fix it. At this point, it's in the county's hands to fix. There's not much else the city can do until, the adjacent properties annex in. But he suggested you can also reach out to the county. Maybe more people can help get this on their priority list.
And this is what Melanie sent us in the email. It's what I think it passed out. I don't think I had enough, but it was a road concern form. So it has everything in regards to debris, potholes, road surface, sidewalks, speed, traffic signals, traffic signs. So Brian just hit everything on what was going on there, and I appreciate that. That was awesome. And thank you for him sending that and Dawn being in the loop on that. That's definitely important because I know a lot of people reached out to Carrie in regards to Lawrence and Coupland. So,
and I think if he hears anything else about it or from Paul Runyon, he would let you guys know.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything on?
I have a personal relationship with Paul. I'll reach out to him.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Counselor. Appreciate that. All right. Moving on. I think we can get this up on the big screen. Evelyn, please. The citizen action request from Northeast 6th Avenue between Northeast Cemetery Road and Northeast Pierce Street. That's a good one, all right. There it is. There it is in the packet. All right. Is anyone here from the public from it we know of here that sent that in or no? Okay, just checking. And obviously the map of concern are the cars pulling out there at Shafford and Sixth, whether they're going across the street to the high school or cars negotiating the left turn to the high school. And I think we need to do something in regards to a sidewalk there. The sidewalk is pretty old and tired there. You can see at Northeast Pierce on the football side of the field, and that's kind of deteriorated. And I don't know if we can do something right there at Shafford and Sixth. I think we've all had teenagers, so they're going to use the least resistance and going across the street there. And I think that's just a popular crossing. Traffic wise, I know just talking to the chief, we do have a counter right there where that new bridge was placed, where it says Northeast Sixth Avenue on the map there. So we just need to check to see if we can get some numbers from last September until now, and we can see how the speeding is. And we can go from there on that, whether it be speed bumps or a stop sign right there at Sixth Avenue coming into town. Anyone have any ideas?
Oh, I mean, we've all experienced it. It's
I-
a scary intersection.
It-
I avoid it.
It's
I don't
one of a
go there.
kind.
And so, stopping, a stop sign somewhere there. That makes sense to me.
Right.
I'm not sure, like what we ran into on Main Street where it ends up being an artery. Remember all the trailers and everything going
Right.
through there? I'm not sure if Coupland's like that. But like putting a stop sign, up by cemetery, whatever that is,
Oh, that
That
high
makes
up
sense.
there. Okay.
yeah. Because. And then I guess with signs, where does the speed limit change? You know?
I'm
I think
not
it's
sure.
just west of Cemetery is where it drops down. Cause the westbound traffic on Copeland, I think is 45 through there.
35.
And just as you cross Cemetery, you start entering the school zone where they got the school speed limit signs up. So it's gonna be there between Cemetery and Shafford.
45 to 20.
Yeah, it goes down to 20 real quick. Yeah.
Right.
That's where it goes to 20 in between cemetery
I
and,
think right.
Right in
here,
Yeah.
Right there.
and so this is 25 here in between cemetery.
I believe so. And the chief was like, there's some speed mitigating. It starts to come in a little bit to try to slow you down at the bottom of the hill. So I know. But there are things that are in place to, slow you down a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, so one would think that if you had a stop sign that high up,
Right.
it's, I don't know what the traffic is up there, but it maybe isn't, not as much as if you put it further down past cemetery.
Yep.
So you're stopping them there, but then when they start up again, it's 25 right in their face and so from a stop to 25, that might,
Would like to definitely have them on a flat surface now that the warm weather's
But-
gone.
But if you put them on a stop sign there, you're only controlling 2 lanes of traffic in east and west. I mean, it'd be,
So further down.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do a stop sign, I mean, I would think you'd want it at an intersection, not in the middle of the street where there's just an east and westbound lane. That doesn't make any sense to me. Is that what you said, or did I misunderstand you?
cemetery.
Oh, I thought you were talking about between.
No.
Okay, yeah, at Cemetery, yeah.
Yeah,
There is one coming off Cemetery, obviously, but there's not one going east and west,
right.
so
And I don't know what the lineup is coming out of cemetery in the morning.
what the line is,
Lineup in
yeah,
the morning?
it's not terrible.
No.
It's not terrible, but I
Okay.
mean, all those houses, that housing addition they're building back in behind there, it's just gonna get heavier and heavier and heavier,
Okay.
for sure. And that's the only way in and out of that addition.
So we're leaning stop sign once we get some more information on
Oh, I like that.
the speeding.
Yeah.
Okay, and in regards to that, you guys have all of these I printed out. It's what Happy Valley Traffic and Public Safety Committee are doing in regards to situations like this or traffic concerns like was brought up earlier. And one is traffic school concerns, the other one's and the traffic control devices. So if we can maybe, come up with something like this, we can, sorry, come up with the explanation, what was brought to us as a committee. And then we can talk about what the complaints were and then where it's affecting, Cemetery, Coupland, the school, Shafford, Pierce, and then get some relevant traffic studies or data. And then once we have possibly some people in here talking about school traffic, which everyone here has, and get some feedback from the community and then make some observations during school time, I think we'll be golden on this issue. What does everybody think? Or at least move in the right direction?
Yeah.
Chief, you have anything on that? I don't know if that's suffice for now or.
Yeah, I think that would be good for now.
Okay.
Looking at, that's a tricky
It is.
curve and it also, there's a descent there too. So I don't know how feasible it would be to put a stop sign at Cemetery. With the speed of the road on Copeland. But it's definitely something we could look at.
Would one be better coming down off of Coupland towards the high school there? And then have everyone coming up from Main turning left? Or do you think it should be 2 stop signs, making it a 4? Not to put you on the spot, but just curious. And I know it's such a small road, but it's just heavily traveled and like Case who's saying it's going to be even more and more used.
Can you point at this one? You're saying put one right here.
Put one right here,
Mhm.
right here at the school on 6th. And I don't know, if there should be one here. So if you're coming up here, you stop before you're going this way, or when you're coming down, you stop before you're going this way. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it would definitely slow people down.
And I guess, from the data, we could see how many are coming this way,
Yeah.
how many are coming into the
Yeah.
school that way too.
I think if we are able to get the data off of that speed sign,
Okay.
I think that'll be extremely valuable to make that decision, see what the speeds are and if it gives you times of day as
Okay.
well.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, chief.
Just kind of a comment. It seems like anytime there's a straightaway and not much, away they go. Like we were talking about by the library, you make that sharp turn and then that's like, everyone launches. And I was just talking to someone over at Spiral Gallery this weekend and the Oakview, behind the stadium, and there's Carroll. And then it goes around and then I think it's Oakview or there's like 3 different Oakviews, something or others up that way. But there's one stretch where there's no buildings on the downhill side.
Oakview Drive. That
Oakview
goes all
Drive.
the way up to Reagan.
Right.
That's straight away.
That straightaway. The guy was saying, I don't know if it's true or not, but some of these cars are hitting 100 miles an hour on that stretch. What do you do with that? So I don't know, can we ban straight roads over 100 yards? I'm being silly, but that's, what do you do with something like that? Because it's right in,
Right climbing.
right there. I mean,
grade
it
up
like
to Reagan Hill.
kids are walking up the roads.
And then they
just-
sled here probably in a couple of weeks down the back of that hill.
What we could do on something, typically when a traffic complaint comes in and a lot of times there'll be the claims of this excessive speed. And then you get speed measuring device out there and realize that it is really not that fast. Not that people intentionally exaggerate things, it's just what it's how
Sure.
they perceive it. But that seems like that might be an easy situation where we could put a deputy every now and then. And if you are having people that are, going twice the speed limit, let's say, a few citations, word will get around and people will probably slow down in that area.
Gotcha.
That one. Good. All right. Anyone else have anything on our citizens action request? No, okay. All right, and we'll move on to the Campanella traffic study. Which another reason why we have these forms here. See, one of these traffic control devices recommends a LED sign. And unfortunately, that's the con for one of these, because it's up to what, $6,000-7,000. And the other one here is installation of signs. So if we're looking at the first one here on, oh, there we go. Thanks, Ellen. The first one here is, so I got notes everywhere here. Well, the first location is Hill Way, just past Raymond, which I think is the 4th Street in, just past Broadway. There was one there, and I believe on the other side of Broadway, just past the park, was the second location. So as you can see on a lot of these, the maximum speed was a little past 25. I mean, the biggest times, in the early morning, afternoon, you have quite a few cars there, but they weren't exceeding 31, 32, and the low ones are in the, about 10. So what does anyone think about that? Any recommendations for this first location here at Hillway past Raymond? Counselor, you have any insight on this in Campanella there?
I wish I did. No, that's gonna be tricky no matter how you do that. There's
Right.
just, there's just so much new traffic. I think that's just a new thing.
Right.
I have noticed that Sheriff's Department has staged more recently just off there, kind of over by those new apartments.
Right.
So, I mean, the presence has increased, which I think that will help with slow down some of that speed, especially coming into town in front of the laundromat. And that, I know
Right.
that's not directly Hill Way, but that presence is there.
Right.
And then there's quite a few different officers that live in the campus or in the community there. So I think it's just maybe I don't know, maybe we can make a public note just for awareness, especially with the holiday season and stuff like
Right.
that. We could just state it, but I'll do some thinking on this a little bit deeper.
Okay.
I wish I had a better suggestion for you.
Driving around last month, I noticed that there were a severe lack of 25-mile-an-hour signs
So
in our community. And I know that's, there's a pro and con for that too, having more signs and whatever, but we're just, we're thinking of the kids and the citizens here in
yeah,
town.
I would say this is just my personal thoughts. I can't speak on behalf of everybody, right?
Right.
But what I like to look at for the community, especially in the city, is like just cost, right? So is there a way that, what would the comparisons be on, like, say, the vinyl stripping, going that stuff that they can torch down, that's very reflective, stuff like that, that maybe is a big 25-mile-per-hour thing somewhere in there that it's on the road, it's big, it's bright. What would the cost analysis be on that opposed to, say, signs and signage and stuff like that? I would just have to see, what one would be more effective, and two, let's think about cost here before we go blasting that. Is there things we can do to modernize as well? And I think some of those, like I said, that torching down, that highlighter stripping and stuff, it's more maybe rumble strip stuff here and there.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Are there crosswalks in there?
Across Hillway or,
There's not, there's spots where they cross, but they're not designated, but
you mean here?
So, but kind of to your point, big, like on the road, big cross, like I was looking at Broadway. And I don't know what pedestrian traffic's like in there, but looking at that intersection of Broadway and Hillway. And if you put some big crosswalks across there and with the big shiny, all that kind of stuff. Just to raise awareness of potential traffic up to the park or whatever, but things like that. I don't know how much crosswalks cost, just paint or reflective or whatever different materials they use. That might be an option.
well, that's where the DEIC should be doing some walks around the community and looking at ADS, right? And stuff like that. So, but I think that that is a great point. That right there, that simple thing, just addressing where like a crosswalk or something as simple as that, I think would present more awareness rather than people are just kind of in autopilot, you know, like cruising to and from work or coming home. I'm not making excuses. I'm just
Right, no.
Right.
stating. So if there was something, I think that the old school
we were
just
young once.
posting up signs, I very much was. I still have to remind myself that I need to be mature sometimes, right?
Never.
But I think that just posting up signs, maybe like, yes, I think we should obviously absolutely increase some of the signage, but I do think that there's different options here than posting signs everywhere. I think some of the more like vibrant stuff and things like that, especially as we're developing the community anyway,
Right.
this will set a precedence going forward in other communities as like, what's the new Faraday and stuff like that.
Faraday,
If we start this with Campanella, then we can just kind of set that expectation going forward.
That'll be good. Anyone else? On this first location?
But I can look into, from the counselor perspective, I could look into, ask the DIC community, when's the last time they visited that community to address like some of crosswalks is absolutely a need for the ADS compliance, right? So as far as being able to help the disabled people get across the road safely and stuff like that, so.
You know, I don't know, but in the context of ADA, is it standard now to put in, you know, certain, you know, the ramps or whatever you call them, the sidewalks that have the ramp down or whatever? Yeah, like that. I don't know what you call that.
So they do have that,
They do have that.
yes,
Gotcha.
it's more of the dedicated stripping across the street that's still missing.
Right.
All right, and then moving on to location number 2, that was Broadway up by Campanella Park.
Oh, I thought
Thanks,
it was just
thanks,
on
peace, have a
Hillway.
good night. And
What-
there we have, let's see, you know, afternoon to about 10 o'clock, we have a couple of 32s, 33s. You know, same thing, you know, could be a 25-mile-an-hour sign, or I just don't know where here we would have a crosswalk, because you pull up and then pull into the park, right? Counselor, you go up and you pull into the park. There's a spot for parking there, right?
We're talking about the
Pass Hill, go up Broadway over to the park.
yes, so there's a little like lane that you would pull in, almost like a cubby. You'd pull in and then it's a pretty small parking lot. Now, I did notice in there's not designated parking spaces. It's just kind of open for
Oh, it's all open.
interpretation. I just noticed that the other
Okay.
day. There is crosswalks right there.
Okay,
Specifically, there is crosswalks right there painted and saying, and that's crossing the street between the park and like where that little picnic place the covered area is. But I'm thinking that is really the only place that there is like designated striping.
okay. Does anyone else think maybe, you know, and I haven't gone up there. I don't know if there's a playground sign or
So there's
slow
not.
kids or anything like that. would be something possible we could do there. Cause like you said, like John said, yeah, it is a straightaway until you hit the park and then you turn, and you're hitting Hill Way.
And then you have the
Going
problem
past
with
about-
vehicles being parked along the side of that. Sometimes it gets kind of congested as well. So like, I actually live down that way. So you do run into congestion issues as far as like coming and going, sometimes with people coming in kind of fast or trying to dodge parked cars along the side there. So, I mean, there's definitely things we could look at. I don't know. I don't necessarily have a fix for you right now because where do we send these people to park, right? For the people that are utilizing it, if there's only a
Right.
small, tiny parking space, stuff like that, then I mean, we need to look at, I think we would need to look at alternatives versus just yellow striping it and saying, don't
Right.
park here. I
Definitely.
think the bigger concern would be lighting though. If there's no lighting along
There's no
any of
lighting.
that duck pond or anything like that in that area, I'm sure that's been brought to your attention before, but the lighting is very, very minimal in that area. And I have seen transient activity there before as well, especially while they were still building, where people will come in and park their car there and kind of stay their maximum out to the neighborhood, kind of makes you feel a little bit unwelcome and stuff. So I definitely think there's a need for lighting, especially as many kids as there is that do utilize that and young families, so. But traffic specifically is what you're asking me. I'm sorry, I'm just
No, that's.
brain
okay.
dumping
This is
that area.
traffic and public safety, so
Yeah,
we're good.
okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just brain dumping that general area. Maybe we could look at the one side of the street thing. Like they did in front of the school where one side's yellow so that they can't take both sides, or we could
Right.
maybe establish a distance from that corner. I know sometimes people park all the way up to the stop sign along that. So where that four-way stop comes, it's like literally one car can squeeze through and it becomes a mess sometimes. So maybe we could look at doing some kind of distancing thing off of corners for parking, like yellow it, say 30
That would be
feet or
awesome in
something.
my neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I mean, you put a yellow strip 30
Yeah.
feet or 20 feet or whatever
Right.
it is, and that leaves that to the right of way of the vehicles to come and go, and it just would, I think it would do that, but the playground sign, I think that is a simpler fix.
And Did you said they park on the Campanella Park
So it would be,
side where you pull in? Or is it they parking on the other side where the trail is?
both. It
It's
depends.
both, okay.
That just depends who's utilizing the area. If they say they're having a birthday party on the cover,
Okay,
in that covered patio area, people park up and down it. I know the city's been, or at least, I won't necessarily say the city, but I know private groups have been using it more for community stuff like kids' Easter egg hunts, for example, and I think there's another holiday that they did something where they invited a bunch of the kids to come and participate. So it gets pretty crowded along there. Now, there is the alternative way around, but
right.
if you'd have to live there and know to avoid that to,
Right. Okay, so are we good on giving some information to Don or staff in regards to the vinyl shiny sidewalk for number one, or a inexpensive 25-mile-an-hour sign for one, and recommend lighting for Broadway and the park, and then children at play sign? Anyone else has any recommendations that we can send forward? What do you think, Tasha? Feels good?
Yeah.
Okay.
By no means am I an expert. I'm just spitballing some thoughts I have.
Oh, we just,
I think the important thing would be looking at how do we set the precedents going forward
Right.
also, right? Especially as this community continues to develop.
that's
So,
why we want to try to get this in today so we can have something, put it on a board. So Evelyn and Melanie and Elena have something that they can forward to Don and everybody else, the council. So awesome. Thank you for that, guys. Tasha? The what?
I gotta go out there and drive
Definitely.
that.
Oh, let's see. All right. Going to, there we go, John. Next topic, the Broadway ADA parking.
Oh.
And if you're able to pull that up and just have I don't want to say a quick fix, but if you see that one right there, that one is Excellent. If you guys can see where the blue car is parked there. Just looking at it right there, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but like John said, that could be the striped spot. And then to the left of that would be the handicap spot. So if you pull into the handicap spot, you have room to get out where the blue car is. And in front of the blue car would have that ramp up to the street. I know we were looking at one for either side, but that's, Broadway's really not that, we don't have a lot of room there. So what does everybody think? Just an idea I took your recommendation to go look at it again. And
Well, and
instead of
I
taking
was
three
down there,
spots, the two.
went to Spiral Gallery and then across the street to Travelers and, it was packed.
Right.
We lucked out and someone had pulled out, and so we were able to pull in by Mossy Rock and actually went in there too, but it was packed.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, unless we needed to, giving up and, making the number of parking spaces available down there smaller.
Well, that was with the design from before.
Right.
I think that, was part of the design why we were fighting so hard for Main Street out here, and especially in regards to parking. And
Right.
Right here at Fourth and Main, we wanted that little area to be parking,
Right.
so we could have the same amount of spots or gain more with the proposal that we had for Maine. So what does everyone else think? This is just something that they just brought up. It doesn't have to go forward. We can revisit this in springtime but it's just something that someone brought to my attention in regards to ADA on one side of Broadway only.
Yeah, I'm good to let that ride for now.
Okay. Anyone else?
So there are no.
No,
ADA
nothing on that side, on the Spiral Gallery side, no.
Okay, and
There's
how
two
many are
right
on-
across the street,
okay,
but
Right.
none on the other side.
okay.
And I didn't count.
You're right, there's two there.
And we-
No, meaning I didn't count the number of slots on
Okay.
that block.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
But it was full. And it often is.
Right.
and have we done any like studies or anything?
That's what I was supposed to do,
impact
but I,
or-
to
okay.
travelers.
Not
Okay.
yet. Not yet, but we can do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Well, what would you think about if you were to add one to the other side, doing it on opposite ends? That way, I mean, you offer access to both sides that way in my thinking, but you leave it to where, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, rather than have one whole half of the street covered up, maybe. I'm not saying the movie theater specifically, but for example, the movie rental store, that end or what is.
Oh, okay,
Like-
so not there, a
Like
different
have
location?
them there and then there.
spread
kind-
out.
So not
Spread
right
out,
across from each
spread
other?
out, yeah, that way. they're-
Okay.
They're not directly across from. each
Yeah,
other,
that
they're-
you're not bunching them all up that way. Also, that would allow them to tactically or based on what their visit is for.
Okay.
Or my other thinking would be maybe, so like in front of Dollar General there, you know how there's that parking, I'm sorry, guys, my brain is
Little
going slow
strip
today,
right
but
there.
where you can park straight
Yeah.
essentially versus the angled parking.
Right.
That's even more friendly for like offloading wheelchair, stuff like that. Maybe we could look at options to make a spot specifically there that's a little bit more oversized even.
Okay.
Just spitballing there. That's literally right here on the other side of the Dollar General. Like
Right.
you could, people park right along that. Maybe you could make a stretch there where it's an oversized spot that's
Yeah.
for more readily used for wheelchair ramp, something like
Yeah,
that.
Like
And
that.
That's a good idea to.
and then you
Like
could,
that?
that, yeah.
that's again, just
So you
vinyl
mean on
paint.
the Dollar General or the Figaro side?
So it's on the Dollar General side,
Right.
kind of like where they park their truck to reload it or to unload over there
Oh,
along
you
the
mean on
street.
Fourth?
Yes, so right
Got
there,
it.
there's that spot where I've just noticed, because sometimes I'm in a hurry, I like to try to park there and I can just walk around the corner.
Right.
But that's that more horizontal, it's not angled, it's
Right.
flat, you can pull in and back up and I have a truck, right? So it's appealing to me, but maybe we could create an oversized parking space there that would free that up and it would be more accessible for wheelchairs and so on and so forth, and that might actually mitigate. Parking is a mess down there no matter
It is,
what, but if
you're
we
right.
could free that up to make it more accessible, but then also free up parking up here for other people that are coming in and going, just a
Right.
I don't know.
So if you wanted to keep the accessibility on the same side of the street, but just around the corner. So it'd be on Fourth, but past Dollar General and on the other side, on the next block.
On the other side of this building here.
Just literally on the other side. of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they could go Figaro's.
Well, that way, if they could get up onto the sidewalk and then they could just go around and they're on that side of the street.
Well, it's already there because there's the loading zone for that where they take the dumpsters to and from anyway. So
Yeah, I
that,
don't know that part.
yeah. So right there, like in this gap right here in between the yogurt shop and Dollar General,
Right.
there's on the backside there is a little hallway where they have to roll their dumpsters out for the garbage trucks and stuff like that. So you already have the indentation right there.
I mean, on the other side of Broadway though.
Oh, those are in front of the insurance company?
No.
Oh,
past
on the
that.
other one.
So you're heading down and
Right.
so Main, Broadway, past Broadway.
You mean by the bank or the food bank? Down that far?
No. On Fourth, still on Fourth.
Oh, on Fourth. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, oh, on
and
the
so
other side.
the goal is to be able to get onto the same sidewalk as Spiral Gallery and all that stuff right there, except just access it around the corner.
I would do it right there on the corner.
Right.
You
So I
could,
don't know what's there.
yeah, I mean, in theory for what you're saying, you could do that. Like I said, one right here, and then you could even do one on the other side. Same thing. It would keep it. It'd actually be better for, I think, for like an oversized vehicle too. Like I think about like the minivans and stuff that have the
Minivans,
fold
right.
down ramps and different
Right,
things like
right.
that, or the scooters that people got to get off the back of their cars. That would allow that. I don't know, like
And that's.
there's a couple spots we could look at that there is street parking that is parallel to the street versus angled.
Right.
That would be more readily available and accessible. So I mean, maybe that's a solution.
Yeah.
You're talking about like right next to Trails End right there across from.
Trails in.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's another prime example. I don't necessarily know, like if we did that, I would definitely suggest oversized because of the traffic that you get right there. You'd have to,
Right.
you don't want somebody having to
Yeah.
parallel park into it, but some, you know what I mean, somewhere along there. Yeah. I think that would be, that's just an alternative I look at. I don't know. I mean, you could do add more of those, but then you got the
definitely-
backing up, the pulling in, the unloading wheelchair. It just seems more I'd make that a regular parking space and maybe give them the leeway of even 2 parking spaces, double stack them on
Right.
those long ones. Swap essentially spaces is what I'm suggesting.
Any other suggestions on that? That's pretty good.
Sounds like another field trip.
Another field trip. Cool.
Just something to look at anyway, right?
Love it. All right.
I know.
All right, let's see. Okay, now we can get down to Main Street updates. That I have to say has been really, I'm proud of the committee for doing this. And now we can see the actual result in front of Clackamas River Elementary and what's gonna go on at the junior high. It's just absolutely awesome. Look at that.
Great.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Mhm.
Look at that. I mean, that's fantastic. You hit the button. Oh, there's Mr. Dobbs. There you go.
That's
The light's going off there.
to me, that's bulletproof right there. Anybody wants to cross the walk, they hit the button, wheelchair or whatever, go across. Those things, I think, answer so much in that traffic zone there. It's just right. I think it's awesome.
And that's at Northeast Main and Northeast Second. And if we could go down to the next ones, Evelyn, which is the middle school on Northeast Main and Northeast Fifth. They're making progress down there. I can see they're getting all that done too. They just need the signs. So the crosswalks are going in. And they got just striping the road. And you have the signs up there. So,
Now that I'm seeing this, that backing up to your Hillway or Hillway, there is this, like these big block striping for the crosswalks, I guess, but it's not. I mean, you notice it walking it, sure, but it's not something that's grab your attention driving.
Right.
The signage you got here makes me think like, okay, on the alternative side of the big vinyl, what's a flashing light cost? Like if you don't
Right.
need a bunch of them, but like a
Right.
simple sign setup like you have there,
Right.
even one of those in a main area would draw attention, right?
Right.
I do like the idea of the vinyl striping thing. It's just a little bit more modern. You're seeing some of these other communities are developing using that a lot more. But you might be onto something with that. That looks really good. And I want to commend you guys for that work. It looks awesome. Thank you for doing that for our kids.
All right, let's see. Okay, so I think that's it, except, oh, there we go. Just got something from Melanie. This is in regards to speed reductions for Eagle Creek Road. She goes, "Hi, Jim. In case you want to share this with the committee, I just received word that the county is getting ready to start a speed study for Eagle Creek Road, starting at Deuce and coming into town. We have asked the speed reduced to 35 at the Eagle Creek River Mill intersection because it currently drops from 45 to 25 near Campanella, which is a big drop and is too close to be going 45, into town. They will also look at a speed reduction at River Mill. The county has a long list of roads on this list, about 45, and they have prioritized during this speed study and possible reduction now. It will probably take a few months and get through the whole process, but at least they're able to start." So that was from her. I think I am good. Does anyone else have anything else? Any new committee business?
I have a couple more updates. If you
Oh,
want to
that's
get me
right.
to
Go
that.
ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay, some more updates from Melanie. She wanted to let you guys know that the downtown Main Street project will begin after the first of the year. A sign has been made to put up in front of City Hall to provide information about the project. It includes the addition of the four-way stop at 4th and Broadway as recommended by this committee. Public
Did-
Works, yeah,
Did you say 4th and Main or 4th and Broadway?
4th and Broadway.
Isn't there already?
She might mean Main.
Yeah, 4th and Main.
Okay.
We
she
already have
probably
4th
means
and
Main.
Broadway. 4-way. Thank you.
Yeah. Public Works will be putting up the second pedestrian crossing flashing sign by the middle school as soon as possible. Dawn let me know that the sign was missing a wire, so that was the holdup on that. Public Works is also installing posts and new park sign rules or new park rule signs.
There you go.
Also last year, the committee requested that a guardrail be put up at the bottom of Cascadia Ridge Drive to stop vehicles from sliding over the embankment on the other side of Cemetery Road. Public Works has that on their list and is determining the best way to improve that area. Their options are to include additional signage on Cascadia Ridge for freezing weather and possibly a curb rather than a guardrail so that the vehicles would stop but not slide directly into a guardrail or a barricade.
Excellent.
And then I do have some more kind of questions from Elena. She wanted to check in and see if you were still interested in reaching out to the Neighborhood Watch to have a representative come and do some kind of talk about starting.
Clackamas County Sheriff's.
Yes, I believe
Yes.
so.
I've reached out to her and spoken with her.
You did, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then she also suggested it might be a good project for you guys to do a street light audit. See what areas need better lighting. I think you brought up one area by the
Campanella. by the
Campanella
park.
Pond.
Mm.
But there might be some other areas that need additional lighting and that you could recommend to Public Works to add.
Could we also possibly put that on social media, on our Facebook page,
Yeah,
to ask the community?
Yeah.
Because we always don't get around to
Yeah.
every community, so
Uh-huh.
we don't know where the dark spots are.
think that'd be great.
Okay,
They might need to fill out the traffic,
that's, That's
sign
fine.
or request thing, but yeah, I think that'd be good.
Okay. excellent.
Jim?
Go ahead, Casey.
I think, I would say with certainty, we probably had several hundred new residents have come to Estacade in the past year.
Yep.
I'm one of them. I would think that it might be a wise idea to get on our Facebook page for our committee to talk about with the winter season here, where the snow routes are,
Mhm.
when they lay down that stuff.
Oh, you mean
Just give some-
the icer?
Yeah, and
We
talk
can
about
try
the
to get-
main roads and what neighborhoods they do, just to kind of give people who haven't been here
Right.
an idea of where to go.
Could you ask Don possibly
Yeah.
for a ballpark on those? And if he's not.
Do the city and the county take care of that, or is it just the city that does that for us?
I think it's both. And then we have ODOT out here, but I think once we
Okay.
get out of, like just on Eagle Creek and up 224 to service and,
But like the neighborhoods, Cascadia Ridge,
city,
that's all city.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Right. I mean, Campanella and
Yeah.
Cazadero, Reagan Hill, Cascadia Ridge. And then up what Faraday and Deuce area.
Okay. I just
So-
think putting it on our Facebook page.
Right.
might Give us some information, because we got so many new residents that be helpful,
Definitely.
maybe.
That'd be great. I mean, what's the criteria for the de-icing?
I think it's, they watch the temperature beforehand, I think. What they know what the temperature will probably
Well,
be.
just like this week, 2/11, starting Monday, it was really bad.
It was.
And I finally saw an icer today. I haven't seen the tracks or anything. You know how you see those lines, and like this morning coming down Fourth. Of course, I'm going slow
Mhm.
under the speed limit, but still it gets pretty squirrely.
And you didn't slide.
Well, I actually almost wanted to test it just to see. I know, but I
many
didn't. That's
poles.
I'm older. I'm older now.
That's right.
But I mean, exactly to your point, I don't know, when does the leaf guy or the street sweeper come by? Is that a regular schedule? I don't know. Do you happen to know? Yeah, and we don't get it that frequent at all. But again, back to your point, we do have a lot of new residents, and having that kind of information would be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, my neighborhood's pretty new, so there's not that many big ones, but it's amazing how many leaves those little trees can dump. But no, that's a great idea.
Awesome. Does anyone have anything else? I know we want to talk about the next meeting and the date. It's on December 26th. What does everybody think about that, the day after Christmas? Yay, nay?
Last year, didn't we skip December?
I think we started in January.
Yeah, we had two meetings.
We had one at the beginning of January and one in our normal, right?
There you go. I recommend doing that.
Are you out of town?
Yes. So.
I got the whole herd coming in.
So are you guys okay with doing after,
Yeah.
figuring out with staff, similar to last year, early and
There's 5 Tuesdays in January.
Right.
So we could do one on the 2nd and the 30th.
Okay.
So two
How was
meetings
that?
in
That would be
January.
good.
is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good
Yes,
idea.
yes.
Yep.
Tasha?
Yep, that sounds good.
Council, you gonna come back in January?
I don't know. We'll see. You guys are kind of scary.
He's already ditching us.
All right, and does anyone have anything for agenda for, in beginning of January? Definitely have some field trips to do.
Yeah, lots of field trips.
I would like to notate, Jim, that we took care of the lakeshore,
Lakeshore.
trash around.
Oh. Okay,
You got photos in here in this packet. but
right.
I would like to address that, especially to state for the record more than anything, if people find areas of concern,
Mhm.
like what you guys did, just reach out. You can email me personally or any of the city councilors and address. You find areas that are unsat as far as debris and trash, vandalism, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
We can be proactive. We
These
can
are
be,
the updated ones?
yes. We can be very proactive if we know what's going on. And I
That's-
promise you, it's important to us as well. As
Oh,
it
that's
is here.
fantastic. Thank you,
So-
Jonathan.
Yeah,
You
and
guys
I
see that?
want to shout out an update about that as well. Ant Farm did the cleanup for that. They have a youth corps crew. So they've done one cleanup day so far.
Okay.
They provided these photos. They have a housing program that they invoice this stuff to. And they have some funding for camp cleanups. And they believe they have one more day worth of cleanup in that area to be done.
Okay.
And they did note that they found 4 needles in the trash, so they're taking all safety protocols
Very
that they
good.
need to.
That was my concern.
Yeah.
Having those super duper gloves on.
But once it was brought to our attention, it was addressed and
Right.
quickly. I think Jim brought that to us and when he did, I don't know, I'd like to like first to the staff, thank you, because I think Melanie had it lined up with Ant Farm to be there. I think we were talking about it on a Friday and they were there Monday to do the
Right.
work. So for the community, if you see an area and it needs addressed, please bring it to our attention and we will do something. I promise you, we will communicate with you.
Excellent.
We're not hiding. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to our
Well,
attention.
it was the committee. I sent the email to you guys as
Yeah.
committee, so thank you for that. All right. Anyone else?
A question on the ant farm. How did, you got folks that are volunteering, right, under ant farm, they're kind of they're going out to help, right, for cleanup?
I'm not familiar necessarily.
How does that roll out?
I'm not sure either, but we could ask.
They're a nonprofit, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
They have a lot
Really?
of stuff.
Do you have some? Okay. Was that over at the skate park or, okay. Did you, how many times a year did you utilize them? Okay.
So how do you get a hold of, is Job Corps like locally here? I'm not,
They're up at Ripplebrook, right?
Okay.
I don't know if they're there since the
I don't know.
fires, but we'd have to look into it.
so was there anything, just a little bit of question off of that, was there anything said about that is PGE area, is that correct, where the fence is?
Yes.
And so do they, I guess it's a question that probably just to put out is that supposed to be cordoned off with the PGE fence? Or is that open ground for PGE because we got people living down there and staying down there along the river. I don't know if this question's been posed or not. So okay,
And
So-
yeah, I'm not sure if anyone has reached out to PGE, but I can work with Melanie and see if maybe she did when she sent this request on and see what their rules or what's going on with that area, why they have the fence.
I have a question for Shirley. Were you on Parks and Rec when you had the report completed in 2011? When we were talking about the boat dock and the cleanup and the bridge across the MacIver? Was the city going to beautify or do things along the riverfront on PG&E property, or just a question? Right. Okay.
I I would, or I would suggest that we be cautious about how we ask that question though, so that we don't lose public access there.
Oh, yeah, no,
Right?
I just.
That being a
curious.
front. So is there a way that, I know Melanie had mentioned that she would have city staff in that email that we were corresponding in.
Mhm.
Follow up with anything that Ant Farm couldn't take care of. She said that they
Right.
would, Dawn and them would take care of that. So I think that the question would be is what's the agreement on that? And
Right.
then legally speaking, what can we do to protect it? Can we mark it more? Can we ask maybe for foot patrol through there?
Mhm.
You know, every couple of days, maybe something like that, a deterrent,
And I know
especially in
they're
the summer.
busy in regards to that other investigation,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I understand that.
I do remember from our last meeting that Chief Mendoza did say he would mark those areas to give to his deputies to kind of look around. So maybe it's just recommending they look at that area again,
Okay,
adding it to their patrols.
excellent. That
So,
was-
just
Yeah.
another question in response, Mike, is the public access you're referring to being able to go down the riverbank?
I'm saying like if that area is fenced off and we make it to where we're saying PGE, what are you gonna do to keep all these people out? Then they just say, okay, we just fence it and barbed wire it more, and then it makes it to where what I haven't been down there in a little bit, so I'd have to look at the access, but I know, let's just say for the kids that like to fish, when there's not junk there, there's those little trails that they like to, and PGE won't cross. Now, if we get into hey, keep people out of there, that's gonna start to affect
Right.
other public access, I
There-
guess is what I'm trying to say.
There is a point there under the bridge where the purification thing is, where the water comes out after they clean it. It's on the east side. That's where PGE has fencing there designated to keep people out. So I think in that area, they have this is a guess, they have a spot there that should be not accessed by public under that bridge area there, which would deter overnight sleeping or whatever, but where that fence and stuff is, it runs down, and probably where we saw we photographed the needles and stuff like that, other things. But in that area, there's a water runoff which runs right down into the river. And I think that's supposed to be a designated area, either on the east side by which would be PGE. The other stuff, which is kind of like you go over the riverbank, you could throw a pole out there, and
Right.
I mean, that's what the cool thing about the river is,
Yeah, I can't answer, I don't have a solid answer. I don't want
Sure.
to blow smoke.
I know these are
but
PGE
Yeah,
questions,
I think the question is what's the existing agreement
Agreement,
and
right.
what agreement should we have going forward without doing the aggressive, hey,
Sure.
what are you doing? Let's come up to let's come to terms. I would suggest like to some sort of agreement with PG
Mhm.
to address those areas specifically that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
Sure. I know, good.
John?
Do you remember like 6 months ago or something like that? The school was talking about Pioneer Woods and how they were finding stuff.
Oh, Ranger Woods.
Ranger Woods, yeah.
Right.
And they were actually using resources to keep that clean.
The district or?
I think the school was. And so I'd be interested in an update if that's gone away. Cause I remember at the time, the concern was if you've got all these new neighborhoods and all these kids are walking to school and they're coming through there. Are there any issues from a safety standpoint that we need to? You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about
The chief had said that he would send the SRO. He would
Ah.
let them know about it and that he would have them go down there every once in a while. I think that was what the chief said when we mentioned that to him, because it was a law enforcement issue. If you got homeless people down there with needles and you got the school kids going,
Right.
even though it's not really technically school property, I don't believe, is it?
we
That-
talking about the
that-
brushland, like kind of that comes in by the back of.
That path by the cemetery.
Path that it goes by.
Yeah.
On
And goes
Village
in-
Cemetery, and ends up on Cemetery
Yeah.
Road, where Hillway is.
A lot of kids cut through there to go
Where
to
we're
school.
talking about lighting, what's the lighting situation like for that?
No,
There's
it's
none.
Non-existent.
Zero
like
there.
a Parking lot, and it stops going up the hill.
Oh, well. So, obviously, we're not gonna put light poles up in the
It's
middle
for-
of the
it's for the
streets
short
necessarily,
guys, you know?
but,
Yeah.
Romantic
but like
stroll.
things like that are deterrents, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that just, again, suggestions.
Okay.
That's a deterrent. So, and then that would also, I mean, a cop can make, the law enforcement officers can make a quicker judgment walking through there lighted than they can asking them to go down there with the flashlight and make sure before the kids start crossing that,
Mhm.
you know, just little things like that. But again, I'm not sure who owns.
I think it's the school district.
Is it?
Shirley, go ahead.
At that meeting, I mean, where I went up there. Bridge, across the bridge.
Right.
All of them, ask them when they have a meeting, ask them about that, how to do it.
Yeah, it's just something on their website that they have. Okay. Thank you.
I suspect they've got so much property.
Mm.
They've got to have other spots where they have probably even greater issues like that. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's got some kind of mitigation plan or something like that already in place. And maybe it's just,
Yeah, that'd be a great question for Superintendent Carpenter on that. I mean, for all we know, maybe he does have a plan there and play it. I know he's got his hands full, but he's very proactive and he does care. He absolutely cares. So we could just bring that, maybe even bringing it to his attention, we could get something going with him.
I was talking about specifically about the PG&E. stuff
Oh, I'm
over there.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
Yeah.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, why not?
On the PG&E thing though, I'd be curious to see on those meetings, if they've gone virtual now or what's the, you know,
We check.
it's worth looking at.
Right. Does anyone else have anything? No committee reports and comments. I wanted to welcome Tasha. Welcome.
you.
You're in?
Yeah,
How's it feel? Was that a lot first night?
not really.
Okay, good.
Really, I'm
Good.
excited.
You'll come back.
I
Excellent.
think so, yeah.
Excellent. All right. We've discussed that before. Actually, yeah, I did see that online. Someone brought that up. I thought it was closer to 6th and Main, but I know it was a 6th and Broadway. All right. That's the common thread in town, the speeding. Okay. All right, we can do another field trip. Thank you, Shirley.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Film at 11.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything, Counselor?
No, thank you for letting me sit in today.
Thank you for coming.
For Mike, Councilman McElroy. I know he wanted to be here, but he had some other things to take care of. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a part of this. I'm sorry I talked as much. I
No,
wanted to
that's
listen
fine.
more, but I'd like to tell you guys, thank you for being proactive. One thing I really respect about this committee that I've seen or this commission is you guys are coming to the table with solutions and not just problems. And so I'd really like to commend you on that. I appreciate not hearing problem, but suggestion. I think if we can do this and we can involve the community more, we have a really good hope here at restoring more trust and
Definitely.
addressing the issues that our community needs fixed. So thank you guys for your work. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. And again, I want to thank everyone. Evelyn, thank you. I pestered her to no end today. I kept forgetting things. I don't know what it was. I like shot her 100 emails today, so thank you. And I want to thank the committee because now we've officially been in existence 1 year since last November. So thank you for everyone. Appreciate you guys a lot, and the community has definitely reached out to all of us.
Yep.
Some more than others, but there's definitely a need out there, whether it gets posed to the city council or our committee. It's definitely a good feeling when things like that on Main and what's gonna happen down here are gonna actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sticking it out and welcome.
Thank you.
Natasha. All right, if anyone doesn't have anything else, I'll adjourn this evening's meeting. All right.